Hi, Demarius. I wanted to take a moment to give you a brief video of the feedback that I'm giving you on Chapter 1. And I also wanted to apologize for not getting to this yesterday. I'm getting to it now, though, and I hope that's okay. So in Chapter 1, I think really what you are going to want to do is really consider the organization of your chapter. And I'm going to walk you through the major pieces that I want you to pay attention to as you do your revisions. If you look at your introductory paragraph, you'll see I have two different things highlighted. This green stuff here is really about the number of African Americans pursuing doctoral studies. So I've highlighted that in green. And this, I thought this one here might be a really good transition sentence. So if you put this sort of at the end of that paragraph after Jackson 2016, you might then be able to talk about the overview of what researchers have said are the reasons for this low number. And then here you'll see in yellow, here you're talking about three different aspects of information in the literature: self-efficacy, cultural misconceptions, and motivation. And then you go ahead and you talk about those in order, which is really nice. But then here, down here, there's something else about self-efficacy. So you want to make sure you keep all things together and you keep them in order. So revise these first couple of revise this first paragraph. And while you're doing that, one of the things that I really want you to think about is, let me find where I put that comment. Maybe here. Yes. Use this link, this handout, as a guide for creating your introduction. What you'll want to do is have each of those elements in your introduction. There's 4 elements. I'm going to show you this. There's also a video here too, so if you wanted to watch the video, you certainly can. Here you'll see you're going to explain the significance, so why someone would care about this. So maybe for you that starts with the idea of diversity and inclusion in all fields. And then what you want to do is describe the status quo. So what is currently known, or how is this currently studied? How is this problem currently studied, and what do we know? And then what you'll want to do is identify the gap in the literature. So you want to say what the issue is with the current state of the literature. You do mention that in your introduction, but it's one sentence and it's really brief. So that's something that I would invite you to explore a little bit further. And then what you'll want to do is tell how your study is going to fill that existing gap. And you can do that by having each of those moves be a paragraph or 2 in your introduction. Then when you get down to this problem statement, really what this is a summary of each of those sections that you just laid out in your introduction. Here's where you are talking about inclusiveness and diversity, although you say lack of resources. So I think what you're really talking about is diversity and inclusion. So that may be something you want to bring out a little bit more clearly and robustly. The other thing I really want you to do is look at the appendix for the problem statement. So if I go over here, I'm going to go to Appendix A, and you'll see this is really similar to that handout. Here's the general problem, the specific problem, the gap, and then the proposed solution. So that's what your problem statement should look like. It's really, like I said, a summary of the introduction. So let's go back and go to the purpose statement. Your purpose statement here is you're talking about a lot of different items, but what I really would love for you to do is, instead of talking about, for example, here, you see this? that really should go where you're talking about numbers, right? Like that green that I highlighted before. In fact, I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to highlight that in green, because you want to keep all like things together, right? So if this is talking about the numbers of African American males in information technology, that should all be in the same place. Okay, so purpose statement. Let's get back to that. So for your purpose statement, I really want you to follow the template, because what people do is they don't, besides your committee, people don't read a dissertation from front to back. They go in and they extract information that they want. So they might look at your problem statement and say, hey, is this the same problem that I'm investigating? And if so, then they're going to keep reading. Or they might look at the purpose and say, hey, does this purpose match with the kind of information that I need? Or might this be something that I want to replicate? So they're not necessarily going to read the whole thing, but they will look at those statements and really eye them very carefully. So what I would like you to do is model that on this purpose statement. So here you'll see the first sentence should be an explanation of the purpose of your study. The next one is about the method. And it's just a short phrase, right? It's not a whole paragraph. It's just a short phrase. And then you want to include your specific research questions and then why you're using that method. So you want to give the rationale for that method choice. So your problem statement should look just like this. So let's go back here. Problem statement. Excuse me, I think I said problem. I meant purpose statement. But both of them should look really similar to the format that's in that in that appendix, or those appendices, I should say. Okay, so let's look at the theoretical framework. I think you're really talking about 3 different things here, and I think you could actually just hone in on one. You've got Bandura in here. Later on, you have Maslow, but you say that the social cognitive career theory is what you're using. So what I would do is really explain this a lot more. It's very, very dense, and I don't know what any of those terms mean, and your committee isn't going to know either. So you're going to need to be able to explain, for instance, what is opportunity structure? What is contextual affordance? You're going to need to be able to talk about those. Oh, there was something else too. Oh yeah. What is an individual's active phenomenological role? I think those are really important. They're really intriguing ideas, but I need to have a little bit more to go on so that I can see how this social cognitive career theory will really match your study. So that's what I think you should really hone in on here. You can give a little bit of background if you want. So if you wanted to talk about Maslow and you wanted to talk about this 1984 theory, that's fine. You can do that, but you really want to just explain to your reader, what is this? What is this theory? What are the main components? What makes them, I don't know, like, well, what are they? So a thorough description, and then how it relates to your study. Those 2 things will be important to talk about in your theoretical framework section. And I would just hone in on the social cognitive career theory. Then the significance of this study. Again, you have great information in here, but remember this right here. Expand on this idea right here, because this really is significance. Because this significance section isn't a justification for your study. You will have already done that in your introduction. You'll already have proven to your reader, hey, this is why this deserves some attention and some study. Here, what this section is doing, the significance section, what that's doing is showing your readers how you're going to add to the literature. So, for instance, here, there's a need to understand why more African American males are not taking advantage of pursuing a degree. I think that's a really important question. We need to understand that. It's significant by focusing on factors that prevent African American males from enrolling and persisting. Also incredibly important because we don't have that information. We don't have that knowledge currently, or at least not a thorough understanding of it. So those are the kinds of things that you want to expand on in your significance section. And then finally, for your summary really should be about 5 sentences, because what you'll want to do is write 1 sentence for the problem, 1 for the purpose, and then add your research questions in there, which by the way, you're missing. So you want to make sure you have your research questions embedded in your purpose statement. 1 sentence for the theoretical framework, what it is and why it fits, and then 1 sentence for the significance, and then your summary is done. So you may be able to take a lot of the information that you currently have in here and shift it around. Remember, keeping all like things together, and then you're going to be able to knock this out of the park. So let me know if you have any questions on that. I hope you have a great Saturday and a great weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you again.